I guess this is what I get for asking random subscribers on the internet to pitch me topic questions. This has somehow simultaneously been one of the weirdest research projects that I've worked on so far, and additionally, the most rewarding. So thank you for your suggestion. So let's go to Chicago.
I don't want to go to Chicago.
More specifically, Millennium Park, and at its heart, one of the most photographed landmarks in all of America, Cloud Gate, though everyone just calls it the Bean. This original piece of art was designed by British Indian artist Anish Kapoor and unveiled in 2004. This 110-ton stainless steel sculpture is made from 168 seamlessly welded plates that are polished so smoothly that it reflects the entire Chicago city skyline right back at you. Its original name, Cloud Gate, has been forgotten over the years, and even the artist has begrudgingly acknowledged the popularity of the name, The Bean. To give you more of a sense of how large this thing really is, it's 66 feet long, 42 feet wide, and 33 feet high. Basically, it's like a giant funhouse mirror got dropped inside of the largest city in the Midwest. Kapoor wanted to capture the idea of liquid mercury, binding the city's sky into surreal shapes. And while today it's become a selfie magnet, recently the Bean has been accused of hiding something far more sinister than just your distorted reflection. And now the conspiracy. Ever since the Bean's construction in 2004, a group styling themselves the Man in the Bean Coalition claims that someone has been living inside Chicago's Cloud Gate since its construction. They allege further that a baby was stolen by artist Anish Kapoor and sealed inside. Supposedly, the sculpture has been augmented with one-way mirror walls and renovations that were created to allow secret supply missions. According to them, he's been trapped in there ever since the construction, supposedly maybe even born in the sculpture. If this were true, then the man, or woman, would be in their early 20s by now. The group even staged protests at the Bean, dressing in black and chanting, "There's a man in the Bean. We'll scream, we'll shout. Anish Kapoor, let him out." On social media pages, the idea exploded. Tens of thousands followed the Instagram page dedicated to this conspiracy. Memes flooded Reddit, and Chicago city officials even had to get involved. These city officials got actual phone calls from residents demanding answers. City Councilman Brendan Riley issued a tongue-in-cheek denial, saying, "A man has not been trapped inside Cloud Gate. In fact, the man was freed years ago." Here's a little poli-sci side note that you would think was common sense. If you are a public administrator trying to quash ideas of a conspiracy within your city, issuing a calm, clear denial with facts will probably get you further than making jokes about it that only make the people sound sane. Well, what's the truth? So let's treat this seriously for a second. Could there be a man, woman, or other living inside the Bean? Well, the answer isn't going to surprise you. It's pretty boring. No. The Bean isn't a hollow apartment. It's a lattice of steel trusses and rings that hold the heavy curved plates together. Here's a picture of the inside of the Bean during construction. There are no living quarters, no toilet, no pantry, nothing but beams and welds. The truth is, this was probably always a satirical protest.
The whole time you would, the whole time!
A piece of performance art. Its roots go back to earlier pranks, like the rumors of a man living inside New York's Allister Palace Cube. And if you're ever in doubt, you can prove it yourself. Walk underneath the Bean and you'll hear your voice echo in the chamber. But there's no sound of footsteps or anyone moving around inside, just acoustics bouncing around the steel. If I was more of an established YouTuber like, say, Tom Scott, I'd book a trip out to Chicago right now to show you. But, alas, I don't have that kind of money. Yet.
They're rich, you're poor.
But you don't have to take my word for it. If you live in the Chicago area or anywhere nearby, you can go and check it out for yourself. you can do a couple of things. Check the seam lines. You see how I mentioned the fact the bean is made out of 168 welded steel plates, polished to be seamless? There are no doors, no vents, or access ports big enough for a human to pass through without leaving any evidence. And the fact that they're all welded seamlessly, there's no vents, no airflow. If someone were inside, they would suffocate within an hour. A simple walk around shows there's no ventilation. But not only that, Chicago is a big city with a large metropolitan population demanding transparency. You can research publicly available maintenance logs. The city has a documented construction plan and required regular maintenance for CloudGate. Repairs are done outside the structure, but there's never been any instance of feeding, housing, or rescuing a trapped person inside. There's an engineering reality check here too. The inside is a lattice of steel trusses and supports. It's not all empty or hollow. These cross sections and schematics are public record, and they show that there's literally no room for a person, full grown or otherwise, to live inside. An entirely different issue is the fact that we can't validate the source of any of the information that there is somebody inside the bean because we don't have a specific name for the individual behind the Man in Bean Coalition. They've intentionally kept their members' identities secrets. As they told Book Club Chicago in an interview, quote, "We are not interested in drawing attention to ourselves as individuals. We are a collective, and the most important thing about us is our mission." Sound like trustworthy folks. Hiding their identities like this isn't some strategic choice. The whole hoax was launched by an anonymous collective, not a single named spokesperson. Their strategy seems to be about sustaining the mystery by shifting the focus away from their personalities and towards the absurd narrative itself. There's a lesson that can be found in this, things that we can learn when we ask ourselves the question, why did such a bizarre idea spread so fast? It's because this whole thing isn't really about the bean or the person living inside, it's about us. This is basically Chicago's version of the whole birds aren't real movement. For those of you who are not familiar, these are parody conspiracy theories that claim that birds are really government surveillance drones and that true avians don't exist. Both of these are examples of tongue-in-cheek hoaxes, but they reveal something serious: how easily misinformation, satire, and belief can blend in one viral cultural movement. Sociologists call this a case of collective behavior, when crowds of people reinforce and recreate new truths outside of these traditional institutional truths. Urban legends, mass panics, viral conspiracies, these are all a part of this sociological concept. Not only that, but there's a whole different ironic twist to it all. The whole thing echoes what the Chicago School of Sociology did in a 19th century movement when studying how city life shapes collective behavior. The scientists and researchers saw cities as a kind of social ecosystem where rumors, panics, and movements spread incredibly quickly through crowded public spaces. This bean conspiracy is just a modern version of that, a shared urban myth, born out of a highly visible landmark reinforced by social media and powerful enough to make even city officials respond. The Man in the Bean protests don't just poke fun at the artist Kapoor making something so oddly iconic looking, but they poke fun at us, all of us, and how quickly and willingly we are to accept, share, or even demand political action over something as absurd as a guy trapped inside a giant piece of public art. Now, not all conspiracy theories have turned out to be bunk. But when evaluating which ones are true and which ones are fake, there are three general principles that you can consider in order to separate which from which. Number one, the more people that are involved, the harder it is to keep a secret. This is because For each additional person added to a conspiracy, it increases the chance of someone leaking, messing up, bragging, or even getting sloppy with the information. The Bean, CloudGate, is visited by over 25 million people each year. For the hoax to be true, it would require architects, engineers, city contractors, hundreds of people to all keep the same secret. City inspectors and maintenance staff, dozens more. The second is the longer the time scale, the more likely the secret will get out. Even airtight secrets erode, people die, defect, or change loyalties over time. The Bean was completed in 2004, 21 years ago, so for a person to have been trapped inside since installation, the conspiracy would have almost certainly been leaked by now. And finally, consider number 3. Institutions aren't flawless. Large organizations are prone to whistleblowing, data leaks, internal conflict, and just plain incompetence. Chicago Park District, Millennium Park staff, cleaning contractors, and City Hall all have access to the Bean. FOIA requests, that's Freedom of Information Act, lawsuits and public records mean it's extremely unlikely that an event this bizarre could remain completely hidden for long, if at all. Not to mention that cities are notoriously large entities with lots of surveillance. You mean to tell me that a new camera positioned the wrong way or somebody with a selfie stick out didn't capture some serious, compelling evidence, compelling enough for someone to step in? I don't buy it. So, in the end, there is no man in the Bean, just reflections of ourselves when we go to visit, and maybe that's the point. The Bean has always been about bending reality like a drop of mercury. Turns out the biggest illusion wasn't the sculpture itself, it was the story that people have tried to tell about it. I'm Teddy Ebby. This has been The Truth about the man trapped inside the Chicago Bean. What should I cover next?